Out of every 100 men, 10 shouldn't be there, 80 are just targets, 9 are the real fighters, and we are lucky to have them, for they make the battle. But the one. One is a warrior, and he will bring the others back. This was a quote by Greek philosopher Heraclitus, referring to the state of battles and wars in ancient Greece in one of many observations. Though, as you might have noticed, the battlefields of today have changed. We no longer fight with swords and bows. We fight with pencils and computers. We don't compete over land. Now, most of us compete for jobs, success, and respect. Yet, despite this, many of Heraclitus' original observations remain true to this day. The battle may have changed, but the war is against the same enemy. No, not other countries or states. This enemy is far worse. We're waging a war against our own minds, temptations, and fallacies every day of our lives. And yet, I'd argue that we're losing. With the advent of social media, instant gratification sites, and the rabbit hole that is the internet, we've gained much more than we could have ever imagined. But we've also lost. Today, it feels like most of us have lost the ability to take a step back and understand the forest rather than obsess over the trees, to push beyond their comfort zones and embrace being uncomfortable. In fact, most people are trapped inside the very creations that were meant to free us. And that is why in modern times, there is a higher need than ever for warriors. The 1% of people who are willing to do what it takes to get where they want to be, regardless of their circumstances. I'm Aditya Dwan, and this is the Warriors Mentality. In 2021, you probably won't find a warrior wielding a sword. Instead, they can be found working on their crafts, leveling up aggressively and becoming experts in their field. Modern-day warriors are those who manage to become more valuable, quickly, and that too, again and again for different fields. People like Elon Musk and Yuval Noah Harari aren't the strongest or fastest. Instead, they're people who have devoted their entire lives to their craft, people who've maximized their potential over a long period of time. And it's this act of maximizing potential that's missing today. In his seminal book, Can't Hurt Me, ex-Navy SEAL and just pure beast David Goggins mentions something that's rather absurd. When we felt that we've given it our all, that we can't go any further, that there is nothing else left to give, we're only 40% done. This is the 40% rule. And the reason that it's so deceptive is because it's within our minds. Our subconscious tells us that we're done, that we've maxed out our output, when we aren't even close. This is something that I've been experiencing over the past couple of months too. For the first time in my life, I've tried running, working out, you know the drill. Yet, I could never seem to move past 10 or 15 reps, like an invisible wall stopping me from going further. But when I did decide to go further, to push through that initial pain and keep going, I ended up doing upwards of 40 or 50. So much of my potential was being locked away, and I hadn't even realized it. And this rule doesn't just apply to fitness. It applies to all aspects of our life. We encountered this same obstacle in our professional lives, relationships, sports, etc. It's almost like whenever we try to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone, our mind tries to do anything to stop us from going further. How many times have we felt that we're just burnt out, that we can't give anything more? Yet, when we continue working, it's like that feeling just disappears. What's happened is that we've broken through our own self-imposed barriers and allowed us to move forward. And that is insane. Think about it. Every time we do something, we've basically left 60% of our capabilities unused. We never get the chance to tap into the full 90% or even 100% of our potentials because we've created an imaginary ceiling for ourselves at 40. What could we accomplish by tapping into the oceans of our true potential? And the answer lies in completely what you want. Imagine just one aspect of your life that you're struggling in, and the insane progress that you can make by taking advantage of this rule. But now the question arises, how? It's one thing to acknowledge the rule, and another entirely to break past it on a consistent basis. Throughout the various books I've read, as well as my own experiences, here are 3 general rules of thumb that have helped make it easier to deal with that resistance, that roadblock, and I hope that they'll be valuable to you as well. Number 1, maintain an internal locus of control. The TLDR of life is that it's full of things that we can't control. We can't control the fact that our favorite ice cream parlor is closed, or that there's a pandemic going on, or how we were raised, how bad the weather is, etc., etc. Yet, so many of us obsess and worry over those very things. We pay so much attention to the end outcome that we forget the steps that we need to take to get there, when in reality, they're the only thing that matters. When we blame external factors for the state of our own lives, we've already lost the battle. We've accepted that our lives are miserable because of something that we can't control. And if we can't control it, what's the use in trying to fix it? There's absolutely nothing we can do about it anyway, so what's the point in even trying? We've just subconsciously told our brain that there's no way that we can get past 40%. And if we constantly blame our own guilt and emotions on others, we will fail to overcome them. That's why the first step to overcoming that 40% is to take ownership of yourself. Identify what you can control, what's in your power, and then go hard on those things. These kinds of people have an internal locus of control. While they're still influenced by external factors, it doesn't control them, and neither do they let it control their life. They've taken full responsibility for their problems and accepted that complaining won't do them much good. Because at the end of the day, we can't control what we get on a test, but we can control how well we prepared. We can't control whether that dream job is ours, but we can control our projects and sharpen our skills. We can't control other people in a relationship, but we can make ourselves better, more caring, and seek to understand. Every single second that we spend worrying about something that we can't change is a second that we could have spent doing things that we can change. Number 2, take bite-sized steps to large-sized goals. Now that we've taken ownership of ourselves, we need a plan of attack. If we've ran 2 kilometers our entire lives and suddenly decide to go 100 kilometers and tap into the rest of our 60%, our minds won't suddenly give us new superpowers. We're just going to fall flat on our faces and die. The 40% rule isn't magic. It's a principle. To take advantage of it, we need to find a way to tap into the rest of our potential sustainably. It's better if you tap into 60% consistently rather than alternating between 20 and 80% every other day. Think about it. If you just gave 60% every day, in 2 days, you'd have 120. On the other hand, going crazily between 20 and 80 counterintuitively gives you 100% output. This is why balance is critical. We don't want to be completely in our comfort zones, but we don't want to be so far out of it that it becomes impossible to do what we need to consistently. Ideally, we need to find that little Goldilocks that's just outside our comfort zones, but still somewhat doable. Here's an example. If you can do 20 push-ups, consistently doing 20 push-ups for the rest of your life is not going to make your muscles grow. It becomes your new comfort zone. Similarly, trying to add 30 new push-ups every single week is also not going to make your muscles grow. You're likely to just hurt yourself. But if you can find that sweet spot that works for you, you can maximize growth. Maybe just 5 or 10 push-ups more than you did last week. This way, you're still pushing yourself outside of the 40% range, but you're doing it in a way that increases in potential will be permanent, not temporary. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but Aditya, wouldn't it just be better if I pushed myself to the max? If I just started that company I wanted to instead of working? If I just started playing the most complex pieces I can on the piano? Or just go straight to lifting 200 pounds? Let's think about that for a second. If Elon Musk had gone straight to building SpaceX before first building PayPal and Zip2, would he have succeeded? I'd argue no. He wouldn't have had the funds or the experience leading a company to start and make SpaceX succeed. Ambitious goals should always be the end goal, but the steps taken need to build off one another like a block tower, where you keep adding more blocks one on top of the other. One more block for learning how to code, another for getting real-world experience, and another for working out. Ultimately, breaking past that 40% limit is about trying to build a skyscraper, piece by piece, step by step. Keep taking steps, and sooner or later, you'll see the results. Number 3. The mind and body are fantastic servants, but horrible masters. In 2017, professors conducting a study at the University of London found an interesting trend between the human mind and body. Our brain tricks us into believing that the low-hanging fruit is really the ripest. We found that not only does the cost to act influence people's behavior, but it even changes what we think we see. The study asked people to judge whether a cloud of dots was moving right or left by moving a handle in that direction. But here's the weird part. When the researchers added weight to the handle, the participants were more likely to move it to the lighter side, even if the cloud was moving in completely the opposite direction. Basically, their minds were tricking them into thinking that the side that was easier to move was the right one, when in reality, it couldn't be further from the truth. Sound familiar? This is the origin of the 40% rule. Our minds and bodies are biologically hardwired to choose the path of least resistance, the easier path. Yet, as you probably know by now, pushing past that 40% is not on the easy path. In fact, it's on the path of most resistance, the hardest possible choice you can make to become a modern-day warrior and execute violence in your craft. And it happens to all of us. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to work and gotten distracted by Instagram and random K-pop music videos. The key to understanding is that we cannot let our minds and bodies make that decision for us. Life is like a boat on a wave. If we don't take the wheel and steer our ship in the direction that we want to, the boat will be swept away by the fleeting waves. If we don't take ownership of our own existence, life will do it for us. And we can be damn sure that it'll take us down the path of least resistance. The choice is ours to take. The left path is the easy way, the path to a pretty and happy life. But it's a life where you never realized your full potential. The right path is the path of the warrior. It's difficult, but it's done not because of what's on the other side, but because you know that you went through your life giving it your all. You didn't hold back, and you made those hard decisions at the crossroads. That is the warrior's mentality. And to the 1% of us who are willing to make those choices, who are willing to push through the suffering and pain, on the other side is greatness. Hey guys, that was the first time I've attempted to make a video with this kind of like cinematic vibe and style, and I hope you guys like it. I'm Aditya Dewan, and I'm a 15-year-old passionate about solving the world's biggest problems. On this channel, I do mindset and self-improvement videos like this one, combined with tech and more project-based videos. If you want to see more content like this, hit and like that subscribe button, and yeah, thanks so much for sticking around, and hope to see you guys again soon. See ya.